Hey, gang, we have an exciting episode today. We're going to be talking about how the Fed is robbing savings accounts. We're also going to be talking about the Warren Buffett $50 billion mistake losses that he sustained. We're going to be talking about gold, the Bitcoin halving, and the housing bubble 2.0 that I've been talking to about predicting since 2016. I've been talking to you guys about it. So let's start off with one thing that's very dear to my heart, and it should be dear to your heart, because if you realize that the Fed is robbing Americans' savings while they're sleeping, right? While they're sleeping, they're sticking their dirty paws into our savings and stealing money. But more importantly, it's not money they're stealing. They're stealing your life energy. Let me say that again. They're stealing your life energy because when we put our time into our work and we produce something, the remaining surplus we put into savings so we could have for a rainy day. That's how this we should be done. However, the Fed is printing so much money that they're sticking their paws into our savings and they're diluting it like Gatorade. Like if you had a bottle of Gatorade and you dumped all of it out and you only had this much Gatorade and you added a bunch of water, would it still be Gatorade? You'll have still have some kind of taste to it, but it won't be as sugary, as salty as before. So that's what's happening in our savings. And the problem is that majority of people don't even realize the Fed is robbing their savings. Again, let me say that most people don't even realize who the Fed is. Okay, they don't realize this is a private corporation that was mandated in the Constitution by an amendment to make them illegal running currency printer. Okay, counterfeit printer. Because what the Fed does is, with the click of a button, they print out money or they put it into zeros and ones in a digital data sheet, then it's distributed. If people knew what the Fed was doing to them, there would be a revolution. That they would be marching on the streets because they don't understand. In the school system, they don't educate you. I don't care if you have a high school education. I don't care if you have a college education. I don't care if you have a master's, PhD. The higher you go up in the food chain in the education part, the dumber you become about the reality of them printing money and how our monetary system works, because you feel like you have more education, so you know everything. And that's what the problem is, that we have so much information out there. We have so much information out there, but it's just no one really takes that information and does their research to see how it reflects with their life. And that's why I'm warning the bell that the Fed is robbing your savings as we speak. They've already robbed your equities in your 401s, in your pensions, um, as I spoke a couple of weeks ago. And I think the next leg is going to be a major leg down in the stock market. Now, once again, most people will not realize that when they got their 1,200 stimulus check, the government may give them $1,200, but right? But they don't realize that the Fed is taking away hundreds of thousands from them. They don't realize that Big Brother is going to tax the crap out of them. And that's why, for me, I didn't want the stimulus check. I didn't get it. I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to be on the government's nipple, nor do I want to be on a banker's nipple, right? At one time in my life, I was an infant and I was on my mom's nipple. But after that, I don't want to be on anyone's nipple, because America is such a great country. Okay, let me say that again. America is such a great country that we don't need to be on bankers' nipples, that we don't need to be on um, the government's nipple. If the government just would get out of the way, and if the stinky bankers would just close down or go bankrupt like they should have back in the last crash, then we would have more prosperity in America, because having a 2% inflation, which we all know is way more than that, is not cool, because they're saying year after year, you lose your value of your life energy or your savings 2%, not just in a lifetime, but 2%. I mean, like in 10 years, you're looking at 200% that you have lost. And I brought to you guys on my YouTube channel just the other day the Fed saying that we're about to hit some major bumps in the road, major unemployment, major construction. And then you also heard them say that they're willing to print as much money as is needed. And what that means is they're willing to rob you and me as much as is needed without a weapon, without putting us into chains, without any of that stuff, because they're doing it in such a slick way that 99%, 90% of Americans don't even understand it, even if they have a PhD, even if they have a master's degree, even if they have a college degree, because these things are not even taught in school, how our money is created. And the problem is that we have so much debt that the world reserve currency is about to recycle, where some other currency will become the world reserve currency. Maybe it'll be Bitcoin, maybe it'll be gold, maybe it will be the Chinese yen, who knows? Maybe it will be the IMF SDRs, who knows? But we're in a situation where the dollar is not based by anything. It's not based by gold, or anything like that. At one time, America became the world power because we had the most gold and we were the most producers in America. So we produced the most stuff and we had the most gold. And then as time went by, we invested in wars, we invested in merchants of death like Lockheed Martin. They made billions and trillions of dollars while, we don't even have masks in the pandemic, right? I mean, that's the problem. The problem is that the guys on TV are lying to us about the Fed. They're lying to us that we weren't, as America, ready for a pandemic. That's why there was mass shortages. Okay, they were lying to us that, hey, it's great to outsource everything to China, to India, to Pakistan, to Taiwan, and not have anything here. That's why it says design in America, produce in a different country. So we have to go back into producing stuff. We have to go back into less taxation. We have to go back into less regulation. And a lot of companies left America because we have so much regulation. I don't know if you guys have ever owned a business, but I've owned since high school businesses. And I can tell you, there's so much red tape, so much baloney for a small guy to start a business. And that's why big corporations say, screw you, government, and they go out and outsource to Mexico. They go outsource to China. Not only manufacturing, even their call centers these days, when you call support, customer care is now all in different countries. Look at Amazon. You go to their live chat, some lady in Philippines, some lady in India, just like I showed you guys in my virtual uh, VA course, how to do that in small business, because I saw it back in the days that, hey man, I see Ford outsourcing. Why can't I do that? Right? I mean, why do I have to hire some guy in America, pay him 50,000 where I could outsource it to India and Pakistan and pay that guy $120 a month, $150 a month to do the same exact work that has a college degree. So what's happening is we have so much regulation that businesses are just producing stuff otherwhere, and now we're having the problems that we're having today because of we don't produce anything, we have too much debt, not only from the federal to the state to the local to the corporation and to the actual people. And and meanwhile the Fed is printing massive amount of money that's robbing everyone's savings, and at the same time they're acquiring all those real assets from the people, right? From mortgage-backed securities, which are basically the owners of all the real estate, all the way down to you name it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the problem is that, you know, printing of money is not going to help us get out of the recession, because printing money is a secondary layer. The first layer, which is the most important layer, is production. If we don't produce anything, then the money, the secondary layer, has no value, because money came because someone had chickens and someone had shoes, and they said, well, how can we trade? And they were bargaining. They came with a better layer, which is currency, to trade. Now, we could print all the money we want, but if no one's producing anything, then there's nothing to buy. And eventually, the stuff that's already out there is going to skyrocket in price, aka inflation. Okay. So Please, if you don't know about the Fed, do your research. You'll be shocked. Tell your mama, tell your cousin, tell your coworkers, because we got to end the Fed. I mean, they are enslaving us to the extreme. They're allowing Big Brother to have endless wars. They're just growing and growing and growing, killing free markets, killing capitalism. And, it has to stop, right? It has to stop, because if not, our kids going to be paying for today's expenditure. Okay. Now, the other thing I want you guys to notice is Warren Buffett just lost $50 billion in the mistake he made buying American Airlines, Delta, the 4 or 5 top airlines. Okay. Now, I want you to listen to, at the same time, Warren Buffett is the head spokesman on CNN, NBC, telling retail buyers, telling the money, telling the average person with a 401 to buy stocks, buy stocks. This is the best time. Never bet against America, right? And I agree to that part. But however, he's doing the opposite thing. So while he's getting on TV, he's telling everyone to put your last of your monies into the stock. Don't take it out. That fool is cashing out on his stocks and putting the money in cash, because he knew, just like I know, that the first crash we just had a couple of weeks ago, stock market is not the real crash. There's more legs to come down, and he wants to be liquid instead of, you know, basically he wants to be liquid versus having those stocks, because he knows that, hey, the market the economy is going to be down for quite a while. The airlines are going to suffer for quite a while. The hotel industry is going to suffer for quite a while. The retail is going to suffer for quite a while. The car industry is going to suffer for quite a while. The people are going to suffer for quite a while, right? And that he also knows that the market is going to be crashing again, and he wants to be liquid to buy, because in a bloodbath, and when there's fear in the air, well, there's two types of investors that really profit: the people that are liquid, that have a lot of cash, or people that have imagination, creativity, what I call insiders. And that's what I teach on my channel, because in an economic class like the house bubble 2.0 that we're about to come in, and I'll get into in a little bit, you don't have to have all cash. You could use strategies like, what I teach in my profit sharing coaching, where you're able to do OPM, other people's mortgages, right? Um, and I teach it to you in my profit sharing. So if you're interested in joining my profit sharing, you want to work with me one on one. I have a limited amount of seats. It's not for everyone. It's $3,000 for 1 month of coaching. Plus, I give you all your business tools. If you don't have that money, or if you don't want to, commit that much, you want to do a test try, then you can download my pre-recording profit sharing, where you also get 1 month of pre-recorded coaching in my mastermind, where I talk to my students, where we're doing live calls, we're doing live deals, structuring. I answer all their questions, and you could just listen in here for just 197. It's a flash sale. I had 50. I think I only have like 24 or 23 left. So go to Mr. No Fluff, download the pre-recording. I'll give you a sample taste of what you get if you work with me direct, for fractions of, like, I think like 95% off, 97% off. Okay. So the two option is, you can get the pre-recording for just fire sale right now, right, where you get to listen to all my students, and what we go on for 4 weeks, which is 1 month, or you can work live with me for 3K. It's your choice. And I teach you how to uh, use the creativity and imagination part of the crash to, maximize on your dreams, right? And be your dreams versus having a lot of cash. But going back to Warren Buffett, you know, the guy just lost $50 billion. He's telling everyone that it's not to bet against America. This is a great time to buy stocks, when the guy himself is selling out. And if you listen to all the media propaganda, you're going to believe that, we're going to have a V-shaped recovery. We're coming back real quick. And that's what he's preaching. On the other hand, he's cashing out. And the reason he's cashing out is the same reason why, I've kept my expenses really, really low, so I have cash to buy stuff, right? Because everything's going to be on massive sell. This, my opinion, not financial advice, but this crash we just had is just a pre-show. It's like a warm-up to the actual physical activity that's going to be coming, which is a major crash. Okay. Now, I'm not really a fan of Warren Buffett, right? I mean, he's missed a lot of opportunities. He missed opportunities in Amazon. He missed opportunities in Google. I know he's missing opportunities in Bitcoin. And, but I have no beef with him, much respect to him. But I just don't like when someone says go right and they're going left. So they're he's saying buy stocks to a bunch of retail people. People are putting their savings up, and then he's selling his own, which is like that's not what he's saying to do, right? All right, so let's go talk about Bitcoin halving, okay? And what that means is, unlike the U.S. dollar, guys, click the like button. You have any questions, comments, leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer these questions for you. Okay, Bitcoin halving is unlike the U.S. dollar because the U.S. dollar, the Fed wants you to have a 2% inflation year after year, which is a lot more, but they just say 2%. Bitcoin's the total opposite thing. It's like the inverse. Every halving means there's less and less and less and less supply of Bitcoin being produced, and eventually there's going to be no more Bitcoin producers. That's fixed amount. It's not like the U.S. dollar where some private company called the Fed and the private bank just click and they print money and they buy stuff, right? It's not like that. Um, and it's about the Bitcoin halving is gonna be here in probably 2 weeks or less, and you see the price of Bitcoin going up. Now, do I think that the price is going to come down after the halving? I do think so. Historically, that's what happens, but you usually see the price go up in about 6 to a year later after the halving, because during that halving, a lot of miners will get those coins and they want to sell it to pay their overhead. But after this halving, I think there's going to be less miners out there. And if you don't know what a miner is, it's someone that uses electricity, uses computer power, uses space to keep the network secure, to create the network, and they get a reward by getting certain amount of Bitcoin per halvings, and every halving it becomes less and less and less of, because it's not in like the US dollar. It's not inflation, it's deflationary. It goes the other, it shrinks. And that's why gold is such a powerful thing. That's why fiat currency has collapsed from the beginning of century, the beginning of mankind, because the people in charge of printing always overdo it. They enslave everyone, and then there's revolutions, there's civil unrest, and new currency comes into play, or new powers come to play. And right now, the US dollar is in major trouble because more and more countries around the world are seeing that, hey, there's massive printing. Okay. Now, one thing that we have to understand is that we're the world reserve currency. We get our income in the US dollar. Like, let's say you're China, let's say you're India, let's say you're Pakistan, and you have debt in American dollars, but you're not earning in American dollars. You're earning in rupees or you're earning in pesos, right? And the problem is that as more the Fed dilutes the US dollar by printing money, they also make the other currencies, the other worlds, even weaker. They dilute that times 10, times 5, right? So if we suffer 10%, these guys are suffering 50%. And what that's going to do is going to make more and more countries realize that, hey, man, I don't want to be holding a dollar when they're diluting it. And so much of it makes my own currency even weaker. And so as more and more countries realize this, the confidence of the world reserve currency is going to crack. And by us, in the past, I would say 5 to 10 years, we've been using the dollar as a weaponized tool to sanction, to bully people, all these countries that are producing our shit. So let me say that again. Other countries are producing our shit, producing our t-shirts, producing our bikes, producing our computers, producing our shoes, and then we give them fake currency that they print. They print, right? But we take their natural resources, we take their labor, we take all their good stuff, and we give them fake paper. Think about it. Would you want that? I mean, for a while, everyone's running around in the seat and it's good, but eventually the music's going to stop, and we're at the verge of the music stopping because of massive debt, massive printing. And even the Fed has came and said that, hey, we got to stop this. In my last video, that he's concerned about this, but right now is not the time to think about it when we're getting so much debt, when we're printing so much. Okay, so Bitcoin halving is happening. I believe it's going to shoot up, then it's going to come back down. But in the long play, that's a short play. In the long play, my opinion, not financial advice, I have money into Bitcoin, and I believe that it will be one of the world reserve currencies because as more countries get tired of sanctions, tired of the weaponization of the dollar, they get tired of losing purchasing powers because they're uh, waiting for not waiting they're hooked up by the dollar because you can't buy any gas from OPEC unless because of the petrodollar situation. So everyone has to have dollars around the world, and I think at one point they're going to get tired of it. Okay, and which means that the death of the dollar and a new currency, especially since so many businesses are in trouble. Okay, now let's talk about gold. Well, guys, 2016, I have videos where I unboxed thousands of dollars of gold for you guys. I told you guys why I got into the real estate game and I'm getting into gold. And I nailed it, guys. I don't know how to say I nailed it. Before many of the big hedge funds came out and said gold was the play, before all these smart people came out and said gold was the play, I told you first in 2016 that gold was the play when no one was even looking at it. And at that time it was 1,100 bucks an ounce. Today, if you want to buy gold, I can actually buy it. I'm not talking about the spot price. If you want to actually buy gold, you can go to a website to buy it, or even to your local shop. You're going to be paying almost $1,900 an ounce, 50 bucks plus or minus, right? You might get it for 18.50, somewhere around there. But the spot price is 17 and some change, but you're going to pay almost $100 premium because there's a disconnect. There's off the rails. The reality, what was reality and what's delusional is too separated, okay? Because there's cracks in the wall. At one point in time, the spot price represented the gold price. Today it's not like that because there's decoupling. There's a delusion of what's the delusion. Like, people are seeing the mirage fade away, that hey, it's manipulated. The spot market is manipulated because of paper gold, stock gold, right? Because bankers, the people, big money can manipulate it because it's not backed by the real thing. There's more stocks paper than gold paper than the actual gold, and I think people are going to find that out very, very soon. Okay, that when they try to claim those fake stocks for gold, that they're not going to have any gold. Okay, and because there's no gold right now, if you want to go to a gold store, you want to buy ounces of gold, guess what? You're probably waiting 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer, to get your stuff. Okay, so in my mind, gold is going to go up. I don't know how much it's going to go. I don't know. Bank of America says it's going to go 3,000 an ounce. Some people say 5. Some people say 10. I don't have a crystal ball, but what I do know is that gold is going to go up, and that's why I invested into it heavily back in 2016. I showed everyone my hand. A lot of people call me nuts. A lot of people, thought I was cool. I think the people that thought I was cool, they probably made the same kind of moves that I did because they had the like mindset, and they're probably feeling really good right now because they made massive profits compared to where it was just a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, guys. Okay. Now let's talk about uh, housing bubble 2.0, which is very, very interesting. Guys, let me know what state you're from. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll get to it in a second. But I want to talk about housing bubble 2.0, and I want to use an analogy because it's very much the situation today. The analogy is: have you ever had to use the restroom and then you didn't go, and you had to go, but there was no restrooms around, so you had to hold it, and 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 then when you went, it was like a Niagara Fall explosion, right? That's exactly what the real estate housing bubble is going to look like. You have so many people that cannot pay their rent because they don't have jobs, they're collecting unemployment, and there's programs in there like forbearance programs. They're going to wait 3 or 4 months before they're due. Okay, but once that person goes to the restroom, once the floodgates open, that's exactly how it's going to look like with the housing market because so many people are not listing their homes. So many people are like withdrawing their MLS listings. Okay. So many people are behind in their house payments, or so many people are behind in their rent, and their landlords are behind in house payments. And it's kind of like the whole economy is like holding their piss, and they're just holding it, holding it, holding it. And then once they go, it's going to be a floodgate. It's exactly just going to be just like that because once they got to go, right? then it's going to be so much. You're going to have home builders, you're going to have Airbnb, you're going to have massive foreclosures, you're going to have this forbearance program crashing out. You're going to have, I mean, massive people not paying their rents. You're going to have commercial. I mean, like commercial is going to be significantly hit. I mean, like significantly, guys, because more and more businesses are learning that they could make money online. If you have a business and you want to make money online, hit me up, dude. I've been doing this since 1999, online business, from websites to funnels to online sales to automating the business, from pizza businesses to car wash business to moving businesses, all types of businesses I have helped out, and I can help out with your business no matter what it is. So hit me up at mrnofluff.com. And if you want to take your business and bring it online, from lead generation to fully automating it online, so you don't have to have retail stores, because retail stores is expensive. Imagine if your rent was 3 grand a month or $1,500 a month. Imagine if you could put that money into marketing. What a world of difference it would be for you, or if you didn't have to have that overhead like you do now. Now, the housing bubble is going to be ugly. I don't care what people say. I don't care what the real estate agent says. I don't care what the reports say. It's going to be ugly, and it's going to be ugly. And there's going to be massive amount of people that are going to go to foreclosure, because there's all these programs, from down payment assistance all the way to VA loans, FHA loans, USDA loans, that require people to buy homes with hardly no freaking money. There's been changes in the debt to income ratio. There's been all kinds of deregulation of lending, which has allowed so many people to buy homes. Now, there is a credit crunch that has happened, where they're requiring people to have higher credits, 20% down, where they should have had that from the very beginning. But it's already too late. This is just a small percentage of borrowers I know that are trying to buy homes, and no one's really trying to really buy home. Think about it, guys. Here's the thing people don't realize. I've been in the real estate industry since 2006. I own a brokerage firm. That means I had real estate agents older than my grandparents working for me. I owned a real estate investment business where I own rental property. So I've been in the business for a long time. I've done short sales, loan modifications, subject twos, wraps, you name it. Okay. And I can tell you the summer season is the season where people move. This is the season where people buy homes. And guess what? This the numbers are going to come out. They're going to look ugly, because we're in the middle of summer already, or close to it, and people are not buying homes right now, and I don't know how it's going to look like in the winter, even worse, but the majority of the sales happen in the summertime. Most people buy homes or move homes or change apartments in the summer and springtime. And with the way things are going, well, a lot of the landlords are behind on their mortgages, but they can't evict their renters because the courthouses are closed. So just feel what I'm saying, and you're going to have people, for example, um, there are so many people that I know that have borrowed, like, they want to buy 20 houses, right? And they had a job, or maybe they make $75,000 a year, or $80,000 a year, or 100,000. They had a good job, and so they just borrowed, you know, 20 houses, because hey, that's what they learn in the REI clubs. That's what they teach you on all the forums, YouTube. Hey, just like leverage out, reborrow against it. Do equity cash outs. I mean, just get into debt and get into debt and get into debt, and now they have like 20 properties, and each property, let's say, is $1,500 a month. But just to simplify it, let's say he $1,000 a month. Well, that person is now in hook on $20,000 a month. But here's the problem: all of a sudden, renters don't pay, right? Or else all of a sudden they're doing Airbnb, and then boom, they don't have that income no more. The problem is they only have a $75,000 a year salary, or they have $100,000 a year salary. Well, they still got to pay for their own mortgage. They still got to pay for their own cars, because they're probably living good because they had this money coming in. They have nice things and whatever. Now they're in massive trouble because their salary is this much and their expenditure is this much. Let me say that again, dude, because when you have rental properties, I don't never recommend anyone to have rental properties, if you just have a job, dude, because you have a fixed income. For example, when you have a business and you have a rentals, if rentals go down, you could put more energy in your business to grow more money, because in a business, the sky's the limit. In a job, your salary limit is your limit. You may get a raise, 5, 10 grand, 15 grand, but you're not going to be getting $200,000 extra. But in a business, you could turn on the faucet if you need more business. You could turn it back if you don't want that much business. You know what I mean? Just like me, I turn my faucet down. We don't even have salespeople. because I don't want a whole lot of business. I've had businesses where I had a lot of people to manage multiple locations, and trust me, I don't want to go there. I want to hang out at the park with my kids, right? So that's the power of being an entrepreneur. You could turn on the faucet if you want to get more. You could turn it off. So if someone had a business and they have 20 properties and they're Airbnb-ing it, or the renter's not paying and they can't do eviction, they'll just turn on the faucet of their business. They'll just go do more marketing. They do more hours. They'll lower their price. They do more guerrilla creativity, whatever it is to generate income. But someone that has a job, they're not going to be able to do that because they're on a fixed income. Even if they have 75 or 100K a month, but they have 10 houses. Well, they owe 10 grand a month coming in just in the houses, and half of them don't pay. Well, now they owe 5 grand a month, which is basically their salary. So how are they going to survive, right? And so get what's going to happen to that small landlord. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, what people don't realize is, I would say, I haven't done a survey, but just keeping my ear on the heartbeat of streets and looking around, I would say at least 80% of all the real estate in America that are commercial or residential um, landlords are small mom and pop landlords, guys. Small mom and pop landlords. Okay, it's not the big landlords. It's not the hedge funds, right? They're in here, but majority are people that own like 1 to 4 houses, right? 1 to 10 houses. Okay, majority, and majority of these people have jobs. And they got into the idea of more is better. Instead of having 2 houses that are fully paid for, they're ready to get 10 houses. Okay, instead of decreasing their costs when that money was coming in from that passive income, no, they bought jet skis and boats and vacation homes. Instead of paying off their own house debt with that income and living frugally, right? They live the American dreams, and now it's time to pay the reaper. It's time to pay the reaper. And the Fed and Big Brother doesn't want these people, and big corporations like the airlines, like the hospitality industry, like the car industry. They don't want them to pay the reaper. They want to keep them alive, and that's where the no happens, because that makes everyone indebted. And I feel like that if you were a dumb consumer, if you're a dumb business owner, then you got to pay the reaper. I mean, if you thought that the grass is going to be always green and money's going to come in always, then when there is no money coming in, when there's a rain, then you got to pay the reaper, dude. You heard this little stories where there was a little ant and a grasshopper. Everyone heard that story. So you were able to choose, not you personally, but America. Corporations were able to choose. They want to get into debt and buy their own stocks, or do they want to come up with a better gadget, or they want to have more cushion in their savings for a rainy day? But they chose to grow. They chose to buy their own stocks, or their CEOs and whatever, to get big bonuses, versus to take care of the community and take care of the employees, because they don't care about that. Right? They don't care about that. And same thing with the small landlords. Instead of just having 2 houses or 3 houses and getting their debt paid off as fast as possible, they could have their houses free and clear. They use their houses as ATMs. They use those houses as collateral to get into more debt. And they thought that maybe 2 rental houses is perfect versus 10. Some people they could have had 10 and they bought 100. They thought, man, I'm just going to get more, not realizing that, hey, you got to have significant uh, cushion, because every day is not going to be a sunny day. Nature doesn't work like that, okay? And if you're in an assumption that every day is going to be a sunny day because there's the Fed, there's going to be a bailout, there's going to be massive printing, well, one day this system is going to break, and which is breaking right now, and there's going to be massive losses. Even the richest people in the world, like Warren Buffett, are losing $50 billion on one shot, dude, on one shot. And they're so scared of the market that they're cashing out and sitting on the cash on the sidelines, right? Because there is no bargains right now. The bargains were already gone. The bargain was 2016 when gold was 1,100 bucks an ounce, right? The bargains are strategies that don't require cash to buy people's homes by letting the seller become your own private bank, right? But most people don't have those strategies, unfortunately. But if you want to learn about these strategies, you have 2 options. One, to work with me direct one-on-one, called my profit sharing, 3K for 1 month of coaching. After that, if you want to stay longer, it's only $119 a month. Nothing. I'm basically helping you for free, $119 a month. You can stay as long as you want, okay? Because I do it out of love. Plus, I give you $9,500 worth of business tools that you need to be a real estate investor, from your paperwork to your negotiation to your marketing assets and so on and so on. Just go to Mr. No Fluff, click on profit sharing, click on mentoring, click on profit sharing, go check it out. If you don't have the $3,000, or if you don't know me and you want to talk to me and I don't have a sales team because I don't want to sell you, right? And so you could try the pre-recorded version. The pre-recorded is just $197. You get the same 4 weeks of coaching. You get to listen to my students' live calls. You get to listen to them negotiating deals. You get to get all the goods that people that pay me the $3,000 without paying the $3,000. The problem is the negative side is there's only 23 or 25 left out of 50 for 197. After that, it's over. I'm not gonna have it for that price because it's just not for my other students. So two options: profit sharing, pre-recorded, dirt cheap, 197 for 4 weeks of coaching, or live coaching, profit sharing. Now I'll go ahead and take some comments if you guys have any. We'll see what's going on. All right, ill one. We appreciate your free content that you share on this page, brother, man. Thank you, man. Much love for you, man. Thank you for leaving that. It really means a lot to me, man. Thank you. Professor Curtis, OG, tell it like it is. Appreciate it, my man. Look out for third rail. Good afternoon. Californians in the house. Love the videos, Mike. Keep them coming. DFT. Thank you so much, guys. Remember, guys, one last thing. Be your dreams. You live in the best country ever, America. Two, you live in the best era ever with free social media. You can get free customers with internet. You see the brick and mortars are closing up. They're going on the internet. The era of the internet is here. Actually, was here in 1999, 2000 when dial-up came in, and that's how long I've been into it. Okay, I've been online marketer, online content producer since 1999, 2000 when there was AOL and Net Zero at the malls selling dial-up. Okay, but now it's exploded. We got 5G, 4G. We have everyone that has a. I mean, dude, to get a website is so easy. To sell online, I don't want to say so easy, but it's doable, right? And most importantly, you live in America, and the last most important thing is, guys, we don't. There's an opportunity that only happens every 100 years. Okay, and it's here today. There's massive opportunities. There's massive amount of people. For example, there are a lot of people that are hurting right now. But right now, if you look at some industries, they're making a killing. One industry I can tell you that's making a killing is the bicycle industry, ladies and gentlemen. The bicycle industry is making a killing. Just last night, I was looking to buy a brand new Specialized, brand new track. I went to their website, and the bike that I wanted was a Track 920, which was like a $2,100 bike. They were all sold out, dude. I went to 5 different manufacturers. They were all sold out, literally. I mean, there was only like 2 companies that I could bought from in my size. And I showed my wife. I was like, look, if you go and look at their models of 2017, they still have those models. 2018, they still have those models. But 2019, they still have. A 2020, they're all sold out because everyone was at home. So they all started hanging out with their families and going to parks and stuff like that, which made the biking industry like such a profitable industry that they have already sold out of all their 2020 models. And and I can't believe it. This is like the third or fourth month of the year. We're not even at the end of the year, and they're not going to have any more products to 2021, right? So some industries are taking a massive beating, like airlines, like hotels, like Airbnbs, right? But other industries are making a massive killing, and what's remarkable is like the bike industry is making a massive killing. They've already sold out a lot of the 2020 inventory, but you can go find it 2019, 2018, 2017. They still have the same models because why? Because people were not stuck at home, right? So you have to be able to see opportunities and be able to change because times are changing, right? Airbnb probably was not going to work, but creating new notes, getting businesses that are making killing right now, right? They can't get a loan because they're self-employed. They don't have a job, and owner financing to them might be a killing today, right? And buying homes, OPM, other people's mortgages, might be the move today because there's a surplus of people with ultra low interest rate, and they're highly motivated. I mean, there's millions of people that don't have jobs, millions of people on unemployment, millions of people that can't pay their car payments, millions of people that are going to forbearance, Well, think about that. All these people are going to be losing their homes, losing their properties. Well, there's great opportunity. Only for people that see opportunity, and you know they have two options. They could look at it as, hey, there's the negative and the positive. Majority of people are going to see the world as negative, but not me. Back in 2016, everyone saw the world as positive. The economy's going good. Everyone's looking at real estate agent. Everyone's doing fix and flips. Every any fool could just bought a property and made money, and a lot of fools did. But I was a pessimist. I was like, no, man, this is a really bad time. So it all depends on the mindset. For many people, this is the worst time ever, and for them, that's the reality. For me, I think this is the best time ever, the best opportunity ever, and I'm looking forward to making great moves. And I hope that you guys are making great moves. And I hope you didn't lose a whole lot of money in your pensions, 401s, stocks, and I hope you're starting your own businesses and you're tired of working for the man so you can be your dreams, because you live in the best era ever, best century ever, best technology ever, and the best recession depression ever that we ever seen, guys. So yeah, my man said he has a question for me. Go ahead, my man. DFT. Go ahead, ask your question. Guys, while he's asking his question, go to MrNoFluff.com if you need some of this self help books on real estate, the new flip, man, very, very hot. I had a student that messaged me just yesterday, and he said another student in the market was doing the new flip, and he had reached out to him, uh, and the guy had turned $25 into $300 in a matter of days. And I was like, and this student had reported back to me what this other student told them, and I was like, dude, that's awesome. My man said, is it better to learn real estate or digital marketing right now? Your thoughts, please. Okay, guys, those are both very important things, right? Marketing is so important. People always say sales is important, but marketing is very, very important. I mean, marketing you can do for other companies, you can do it for yourself. Like I'm a massive marketer when it comes to guerrilla marketing, not the traditional way. I've done it since high school, and the skills that I learned there have carried to me, and I'm 42 years old. I'm not sure how old you are, so I recommend everyone to start learning how to do marketing. I reckon for everyone to learn how to do sales, because those skills you're going to carry with you the rest of your life. Okay. Now, real estate, again, it works really good in up markets. It looks really good in side markets. It looks very good on bottom markets. Okay. So real estate is something that you carry with you in your whole life, but it also creates massive wealth. I think my man said he's 51. Much love to you, man. You live in America, you can do anything you want to, but you got to think about it. If you're going to be a digital marketer, I don't know how shabby you are on the computers, but a lot of older people are not shabby on the computers. You're competing with like kids that are in high school. They have Instagrams with million people following them. They know how to code. They know how to do webmastering. They know how to do SEO. They know how to do blogs. They know how to create blogs. They know how to use Photoshop. So if I was 51, I would not go into digital marketing and try to learn it. If I was 18, I was 21, I would learn that right there, right? I would learn that because I could carry it with me. But if I was 51, I was 42, I never done SEO, I never done, online marketing. I wouldn't try to become a master at it at this time because there's so much competition. I'm not sure what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do it for your own business, then that makes sense. If you're just trying to do it to get a job, then you're competing with all these kids that are being social media marketers. And for example, my sister had just graduated college, right? She went in one degree, but today she's a social media marketer for some uh, energy company, and she's making like 60 grand, right? Just to be a social. She has like such an easy job, right? And she's really good with computers. She does all this stuff. So, and I think that she's getting the shittier stick of the stick because she could do the same exact things for five different companies and be making, 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, right? But again, she's already has all these skills. Where if someone didn't have the skills, I it would take too long to learn, because you have to learn how to type, you have to learn how to use platforms, you have to learn what search engine is, you have to learn about social media. I mean, you got to learn so many different things, but it's very easy, it's very doable. But you better put around like 3 to 5 years of full dedications to become good at it and get results. Because there's so much. Look, I'm gonna get in real estate because in their mind the entry point is, so I like to get in fields where it's harder to get in. I don't want to do something where everyone got to work in to blow my sell for me. I'm like, I guess what you call a crash investor. I come into the business. I could do other things, to make to do not that much competition in it, guys. Um, Even though if I was 18.